Stephen, I'm just back here with that.
Okay.
It has been good. The vehicle registration. And that we have been more than what we estimate. Generally expect to get about $940-ish thousand a month, and that's everyone's share, city. The last 4 months we've been over $1 million. On August it was 1.1 million. I think I don't make anything of it. I think it's just the natural registrations. Because if we look at 2 years ago, that was also actually it was more. So just it's good to see because it means the money's coming in as we expect. So that's what we like to see. So that's good news. Every month, as you guys know, we get the money in. We distribute 40% of it to our cities. Cut them a check every month. Lake Oswego gets the most at just under 70,000. Least goes to Barlow, who gets 244. Well, they don't. I'm pretty sure they don't have anything to spend it on. But we work with them. Okay. Projects underway. So first, I just want to give you an update. Yes, we went to the board. Yes, we went to them with the recommendation to move congestion relief money off of the Johnson Creek Boulevard project and onto the newly created Stafford 6th Ellison. They unanimously approved that recommendation. So that is now a project. We're going to try and cobble together road funds and system development charges and maybe a contribution for Wilsonville and a contribution for Washington County. Get that thing going. Hoping to do an RFP, request for proposals for a designer by the end of the year. So that's good news. Thank you all for your participation. As far as the projects, we have substantially completed our first congestion relief project, which is the left turn lane on Candy Markham's Highway at Lone Elders. So, not a big deal. We got one done. Redmond Road is under construction right now. The turn lane is right in there. And Stafford Road in Chicago, we are getting started. The design is pretty much done. We're working out the traffic control and detour issues because it's going to be very complicated. We don't have all the right. So we'll have to see if we can get it all in time. We'll bid it for 2024 start, which is what we're hoping, but some of that's not in our control. I'm just going to leave it at that. So we're hoping to get that done. And Signature 224. Designs at about 60%. That's good. Right now it's a roundabout. This project came directly from this committee. We've done presentations at the city of Escatado and other communities. I'll tell you, the roundabout's a little bigger than I would have anticipated. I was picturing just a roundabout. It's not. It's big, but it's because of future traffic projections. So whatever goes down there should be probably wrong. I don't get involved with that stuff, and so the right of way stuff I definitely won't discuss because one, I'm not involved with it, two, I don't know. But I know with ODOT, they've, I believe, officially approved the route. You know, and Stafford Childs originally was a signal as well. But when we do our safety analysis and show that fatal crashes will increase the signal, I'm like, oh, you tell me we're going to spend $10 million and increase deaths? So roundabout is, we're spending a little more, but Barlow 1990 scoping, again, that came from you all too. That's been done. A project did come of it. We'll see what happens with that project at this point. The Johnson Creek Boulevard one, as you this road we haven't started. That is our congestion relief project. We also have done safety ones. I don't think it's changed all that much. We're trying to do that. The list is there. I'm not going to go through one by one, but we definitely. I can't remember if I mentioned this last time. We purchased a software package, and it basically it's called Vision Zero Speed, and it looks at our entire county. We loaded the entire road network in there, and it has all our crash data, and it can tell us where the bang for the buck is, like what kind of improvement we can make where. It's really slick stuff. So we've been using that. We're still getting it up and going, and we hope to populate a project list here soon. And local road paving, which has been ongoing. And again, that's roughly $1 million a year out of this money. And the package is, it doesn't tell you the roads. We didn't pave the roads you see there. It's that area. So it's local roads around these neighborhoods. We're keeping going. Getting people, the roads in front of people's houses paved where we otherwise would not have done. So you're very busy. And then the ones. That's part of it. Remember, it's congestion relief money, which is what you all recommend. And then there's a little bit for community, a little bit for local road paving, and then there's a little bit for the strategic projects of mutual concern with a city and a county, and or jurisdictional transfers of roads. In other words, county roads that are within city limits, that it makes more sense for it to be the city, but we have to give them a little bit of money maintenance. We've been doing a lot. So Candy, we did. It's not new news, but again, we completed that jurisdictional transfer last year. We're in the middle of one with Estacada, in addition to turn lanes at the intersection of Deuce and Eagle Creek. Gladstone decided not to do transfers for the Happy Valley. I've been discussing. I think we're going to transfer Taylor 152nd and another one that's not on here. Lake Oswego, we're not up to yet. Milwaukee declined. We're going to work on this Bear Creek Bridge replacement, which is just south of Malala. It's a flooding hazard, basically. Oregon City, we did transfer a road named Caulfield, which you've never heard of it. I won't blame you. We're right now actively talking about Beaver Creek Road between 213 and 6 limits, which frankly is longer. Sandy 362nd page shoulders, that's 90% design. We're getting ready to bid it. And then the other quality project, multi-use path, we have not started. We're a little concerned it might cost a little more than the original estimate. And the West Lynn one there is just a placeholder. We have no county roads in West Lynn, and we really couldn't come up with a project that made sense. So one of these days we'll come up with something. And then West Lynn we're right now in the middle of a transfer of a section of Stafford in a road called project. So lots happening with the money. Any questions?
On Stafford Road down there, there's 2 roundabouts.
Yeah.
Is studying those effect of having roundabouts?
I am sure they looked at it. I mean, that would have been part of the design of the project. But yeah, I mean, you don't want them to be too close unless you go to the city events.
Every intersection is a roundabout.
Well, it is and it isn't, but the issue is, yeah, if one backs up into the other, but they had to have looked at it. I'm the technical answer, but Ellen, if you could make note of that, we can. I will.
Other roundabout. Just curious.
Yeah, I don't know the reasons why the Rosemont one is backing up. The one in Stafford Road in Charles backs up now because people are trying to turn left, and that'll go away with the route. They'll be given. Anyway, we'll look at it.
I want to look at roundabouts in Wisconsin on US 10 and Interstate 41. There's roundabouts on both ramps that used to be a diamond, and then there's frontage roads that have roundabouts. So you have 4 consecutive roundabouts. So flyovers.
You just get dizzy. Can I ask a question? Oh, I'm sorry, you go.
So the road study for Damascus was completed. And I'm interested in Sunnyside Road. Is there any projection on when we begin to work on that?
So, yes, the Damascus, additions to the TSP was finished. And
Right.
so we haven't added any projects yet to the list. And we're redoing the entire county's transportation system plan, probably beginning that by the end of this calendar year. It'll take over a year. And that entire list is going to get folded into the whole, a little more holistic. But for sure, one of the tasks of this committee will be to talk criteria for when the next round of projects for this money comes up. And so I don't see why a project, now that it's on the list, because it wasn't voted for, now that it's on the list, I don't know what tier it is. I honestly don't know. But if it meets your guys' criteria, it would certainly be something you guys can pop in.
So if, roads, or city. Changes, rescue will be, or
To a point, I mean, land use is not the county's, right? If it's in a city, we have nothing, the land use is already, and they're already doing what they want. And as much as we'd love to have our road be whatever we want it to be, if Oregon City's doing whatever they want with the land use, the road is going to work. But that is certainly though a flip side to our company having roads in the city. Or yes, the city will have zero. And I don't even know that it's gonna happen when you were talking. We've made an offer. Staff has made an offer. We haven't got to the board. They could always say no. Staff has made an offer based on our normal price of doing this, and they're looking.
Oregon City's planning on putting their roads right up to Holly Lane, in Oregon City boundary. But that means you want to crack it in Holly Lane, which is county road. And
How much we can do about that.
not much we do about that.
So, and yes,
Well, that's.
I was in touch with Holly Lane people maybe early this week, because there was an appeal of development off of Hope that went to Oregon and Oregon City. So now it's coming back because they denied something. Now it's coming back to them to say you have to reconsider it and you can only include these criteria that the judge told them they did. So yeah, part of that is connecting, extending Holly Lane to the other side of Redlands.
Yeah.
And that really might happen. It's not the county's plan, but if they apply for a permit to do it, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Well, you had a line item for paving that's going on. Is slurry seal included in that?
No. So this is not all the paving the county's doing, not even close. In fact, I have a bigger map here. Ellen, I don't know if you sent this out.
Yeah, well, it's here.
Yeah, everything
Yeah.
that's on the big map over in orange is our, if it's dashed, we've already done it. And if it's not dashed, it's coming up in the next year. So that is our proposed paving, chip seal, and slurry seal plan. That is not paid for with this money. That comes out of the regular county road. This money, the community road fund only pays for repaving local roads. And just as a reminder, when the board originally enacted the fee, in the ordinance, they said this money will only be used for congestion relief, local road paving, safety projects, and set up the strategic investment fund for the cities. That's all we can use it for, barring the board community village. And I should also mention that October 11th, I think it is. Bill, I'm hoping you could be there. We are going to the board to give them a community road fund update. And a debate. We are not asking them to take any action. We are not posing any questions. We are providing them some maps and some updates. And Bill, if you're there, maybe we can even post them to let you say a couple words. You might. What's politics? That's different. And just give an update. And the county chair had asked us to do it. I'm not aware of anything. Good idea.
And we'll send out the information about all of it. You're welcome to attend in person or online, or just watch the recording later, or and just cheer Bill on. It's gonna be Wednesday, October.
Yes,
Yeah.
Wednesday the 11th.
10:30.
I can tell you. Is that 10? 10 a.m. On myself. Great.
Congratulations.
With anything on 224, what's so that's gone through design, but needs a lot of approval, so it's.
I think we got it out of it. Okay. I think I have that little one. It might be the region approved it. Now it's going to Salem for the stamp. But
So you might go out to bid in the next 6 months, or?
I don't know if it'll be ready yet. Like far along.
What was it, project?
Yeah, sticker.
So it might be 2025.
Yeah. What did we send her?
Because we have a,
It says 2025.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2025. And you know, and a lot of that, you know, to deliver a project, I can tell you, very time consuming, and every year it's getting, the world's getting really complicated. And acquiring the equipment we need to do these projects, very, very time.
What's the difference between kind of project you slurry seal on and then you paving on?
Some of the condition of the road. So a slurry seal, actually, I just read some numbers on this. A slurry or a chip seal is about 1/10 the cost of an overlay, right? It doesn't add any structure at all. All you're doing is literally sealing it so water can't get through. Water is a road's worst enemy other than overweight trucks. But water is pretty bad. So we're just simply sealing it so all this rain stays off the roads. Because when that happens, that's when you start to get potholes. More of an interim treatment. You hope you maybe do it 2 times, depending on the road, and then one day you have to overlay it again. But if it doesn't get a lot of traffic, maybe you don't. So that's really the difference. When we do an overlay, we're adding structure or adding structure, but when we're doing the seal, it's just like, you know, tarring a roof. But it's very cost efficient, cost effective.
Any more questions for Mike?
With the safety software you mentioned, I think Christian showed us use of that at the intersection of like Burr and Street and the 220 second or something like that. But intersections, I mean, what areas are we kind of targeting using that at this point?
Well, we have the whole county. So we have
the
the whole county's in the system. Now, it's super cool, and you should ask them to show. We have this, we have this analysis now we've done with a company, yes, I don't, off the top of my head, where they'll bring cameras out and analyze the intersection for 48 hours and get all the near misses, and it'll map it out. The camera will turn on when there's a near miss and creates like a 4 or 5 minute presentation. It is super
That's
cool.
I saw that. That's
And very informative. So we have that tool now too, but our entire road network is entered into this.
Cameras get out around the curves. That you.
That's there. I mean, those are detection.
Right, right. But I mean, that image.
We don't save it, and it's not for that purpose. And so,
We create that system to analyze intersections, to use data, the video data that's coming out of those cameras.
yeah, I have a feeling it's just a totally different animal when they set up, but we also have to be very careful. People are very suspicious of government. You might not have heard that. And so
Cameras everywhere.
if we go put cameras up that are recording and saving, don't really like that. And frankly, I don't like that responsibility. So I'm happy for it to be just real time.
Well, my question is maybe not in the right time, but the Wildcat Mountain meeting? Still doesn't have a center in, yes, someone Sue was gonna bring this up because when she drives to go to work, it's hard to find, see where you are when it's going.
Don't stripe every road. And so our folks might have looked at and determined it.
Well, the old road has, right?
No, I understand that. But they might have said, well, but we're not going to strike it here. We'll look into
We can check it out.
Yeah. This is the main road main thing on lines now. Usually the county's been brushing those sides and 25 every year.
Yeah.
Didn't happen this year. And the sign that says stop sign coming is totally out in the brush.
Klein Smith stop sign coming and brushing.
Yeah.
Got it. Brushing was it was a challenging year for it,
Yeah, just, yeah.
but we should have gone to an area, but we didn't. Those things.
Is that some of them that we have? They got, no, they didn't, I didn't get garbage. But some of the other roads, I did get that.
Yeah, we should have done. Well, I don't know. Let me find out.
Maybe. Don't know yet.
This is David Mill, that's really a big. Dave, go ahead and talk to us about.
So we're gonna be, starting to gear up for the next round of projects. Maybe some recommendation that's probably forward. But that would be a good time to take a look back at kind of a evaluation period that you guys established. First round, kind of review those. See if those still are applicable, or things that we think didn't quite work so well, we might want to change that kind of thing. So that most of the discussions I have, you guys have an opportunity to provide that input, and you don't necessarily have to solve everything tonight as far as that goes.
Just
But
gonna lock the doors.
yeah, because it did take us quite a while to get to the point.
Yes.
Right? And I think they don't criteria that was established, I think. Help us really. Very fun place.
I think it's probably worth mentioning too, and Dave or Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but probably won't be actually selecting new projects till we get to this next round of the transportation system plan, which
Yeah,
should
so
be
it's-
mid-late 2025. So we thought we'd start early with this so that you're ready when that happens, because of course that then will be its own, take up a bunch of time, but we thought it made sense to, even now, this was done in 2019. It's, in fact, to the day, almost, it's 4 years later, so, things change. Yeah, is that something?
And just so everyone knows, we got plenty of projects.
Yeah.
So even if
Oh, yeah.
we pick the project today, it's not
Not
happening tomorrow. Right? So the timeline might sound like, oh, we have to wait that long, but the money just isn't.
If you recall too, not everybody has that process, but several of you were, but we took the TSP And it had high priority. One of the high priority projects. Fundamentally through this process. Kind of like this two-stage process where we kind of, okay, here's the ones we're looking at. After we went through that, and we took that hit list and then decided we were gonna prioritize those. I think I remember along those lines, and then those like the top, 6 or 7 projects that we thought we should move forward on. So that process seemed to work pretty well.
One thing I can think of right off the list is I reviewed this and I still think we made right back 4 years ago. But now that we have some safety facility to analyze safety, our safety topic reference to the that software program. Help us improve.
That's a good idea. That's a good tool that can give input. We could always have, Joe or Christian talk and offer up what a criteria might be.
But wouldn't that tool generate the list? I think out of that, the projects, you would use whatever metrics you have here to prioritize those projects. Yeah, because you don't have 100.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But if you've got a list of congestion relief projects, we could always look at them and see, oh, what opportunities that could reflect in this.
Yeah.
Any ideas about this list that we came up with 4 years ago, or right here?
It was a long and hard job. Yes, it was.
But particularly any movers who want to look at this and ask questions, give their thoughts. That's really great too.
I think you have all of it. I look this thing, I don't know. There's something that's missing that, later that, you guys put projects out, use this to prioritize this. You guys learned something that we should have. You thought about this, or you're every day working out there. I would say, here's the criteria we have, particularly since we are evaluating. Criteria have there really focused on the project that we're meant to be evaluating. So, personally, I think they work pretty well.
I would use it too. The list was good. You guys added a couple projects, which was fine. It's intended to be a guideline, right? And almost like a tiebreaker. And that's how it worked. And I think it worked well. And then when the recommendation went to the board, we're able to say, hey, it's based on this, and it provide a good list. Now, the new TSP, I don't know what's going to feed into that, right? Because we haven't started yet. The whole first part of that is policies. A whole other set of evaluation criteria. And it could be they come up with something that you guys don't have that maybe later you realize, oh, but maybe that would be something to add. I don't know.
Well, it would be worthwhile sharing this with whoever is doing the work. They have maybe understanding of how the project's got prioritized. Maybe they can use this as their
prioritizing projects in general. I mean, I think this is, regardless of congestion, I think this is could be a good set of factors to think about when you're even prioritizing.
I don't imagine the criteria will not look incredibly different. But that's up to that committee, right? It'll be different.
Like you said, the board, in order to, of general public too, it's very good for us to be able to, understand why certain project is,
I had the opportunity to listen that meeting when you were there and, for the director and, I mean, and yeah, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? But like, we're doing it for this. So even though like they thought the project should be located in Paula or there, it doesn't really, part of not met.
I wonder if, I mean, just a few thoughts that came to me is, maybe areas where we could consider expanding. I don't have an idea on exactly how, but in the development, factor, I mean, things like Bill just brought up with the internet. Wonder if there's a way that we can kind of give some credence to how we look at those projects where, I suppose at this point, if we're giving, if 40% of the funds coming to San Diego in the city, that way the cities could use projects.
And remember, we have the 10% still that we are doing congestion relief projects with cities.
Then I guess I don't remember exactly on the no other funding sources. Did we have any projects up to this point that we've done that really have a focus on that category that we didn't have other funding sources? We might have to look back. I'm not sure if we don't know.
Well, I don't remember what that criteria was exactly. Was it like no other sources would ever pay for something like this?
Yeah, no other funding source except for SDCs was the only other thing.
SDCs, people managing the heck.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that does come into play on some of these. The Stafford Road roundabouts are a great example. Without this money, they could not happen. Period. There's not grants available for like that in the rural area.
I mean, the Stafford and 65th housing there, that's some work with the county, but how often do you have an interaction with different jurisdictions, like where Washington County could ship money?
With a different county?
Yeah.
Not never.
Yeah.
But not often. And by the way, they haven't agreed to give us any. We're working up a way where they can partner and do some of the work. Because it is on our boundary. But you're right, with a county, it's rare. We've done a mutual project with Multnomah County on 286. But
That's very seldom that would.
it doesn't happen.
Yeah. So I don't think it would feed into here.
Cities is a lot more common.
One of the development questions that I think about sometimes is development, how in the rural area outside of the city, it has no impact on it. County's planning staff. Like we recently made there's a couple of parcels in Utica, sort of across from where the versus the side of the road, the road without seeing servicing that's making. And there's a proposal to change the zoning from 10-acre to 2-acre. And the reason we want to change the it's size for a small farm. All rural kind of place like that, but clearly these people who own the parcels want to development. If you go from 100 to 100 acres at 10-acre parcels to 2-acre parcels, it's like they're more trips a day, and that's in the county's hands because they made a recommendation to the hearings officer that be approved, which means there will be 500 more cars on 213, or Beaver Creek Road or both, that are gonna be adding congestion. And how do we fix congestion for a week?
Well, I don't know anything about what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
That was spring this morning though, right?
That was your review.
Yeah, that was.
It could be, I don't really know, I'm not a planner, but it's a valid question, we can look into it. I know right now, I'm guessing that we're in a spot where we can't even say no. And that's when a lot of this housing stuff is,
Yes, I understand.
it's just odd, the state laws have changed and they're like, thou shalt approve.
I understand that.
So that might fit into that category, but we'll have to look into it.
But I think that, I think this, if there's development, regardless what it is, this school, assigns the school where the project is coming, and so in this case, that going from like 100 acres, that 10-acre parcel to 2 acres, for the remove points. Go because of that. I don't know what else could be out. I thought about it. I was like, comprehensive.
The only other comment I have is that I don't think it changes criteria again, but under B readiness show progress. I think that initially there was a big push to try and get some stuff, take this money and actually get some strengthened down. Now that a lot of those low-hanging fruit projects have been done, I don't anticipate there to be as many, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't keep the criteria. I would be on keeping the criteria on there. I just think that we've probably done a bunch of shovel-ready projects. Maybe the TSP will identify some more, but I was thinking small, but I would imagine there would be less.
And that was part of our second round. See, let's find top projects and then top projects. When this really top projects.
I think readiness is tricky because if it's never ready, it doesn't get built, right? And then it's never ready.
Words to live by.
So, does this satisfy your discussion?
Well, I think so. I mean, we're gonna be.
Take another hour.
Is that a donut box? Never mind.
I wish. I'm sorry. You'd be willing to go the extra hour. No, it's an owl box.
I think since we won't actually be applying this to the actual list until further down the road, that's better too, because a lot of the things that exist now will be different when it becomes critical to make these decisions. So I think the criteria are good as long as we don't apply them too soon.
Okay, well, then we're on to the next steps, and it's able to go again. Other CRFIC meeting. When?
Well, we've been doing every 6 months. Would you like to do that again? March?
How else feel about that? Is that, when are we going to have some things for us to show?
Well, 6 months in our world, not a lot changes, and the TSP will probably just be getting going.
Yeah, right.
So there might not be much. It's a nice touch point, even if it's for 5 minutes, so that we can tell you what we're doing. You can hold us accountable. And I like having that stake there so that we can say, hey, we gotta tell the committee what we're doing. And you guys, the questions you ask us really help us, because that's why you're here, right? I wouldn't know about what's going on in Damascus necessarily from the perspective of somebody who lives there, because I don't. I live in a different. So, for me, it's valuable time, even if we don't spend a lot of it. Plus, you'll have hopefully some new members.
And I was just gonna bring that up. So we will have some new members coming to the board, so I think having one in 6 months, that's gonna be extra valuable for those new members that are coming on. To kind of, you guys can help get them up to speed a little bit about what's happened and where we're going and that kind of thing, so.
So this time next year, the TSP should be
I don't think it'll be done,
No,
Not,
but it'll be very far along.
Yeah.
Maybe some preliminary
it might be an interesting time for this group.
projects.
Yeah, we get a progress report. Yes, it might be.
And first of all, some of you might end up on that committee. That happens. That's a lot of meetings, but
But it's fun.
For now, but, I would not surprise me if someone on this committee decides, yeah, I wanna do that too. But yeah, I think in March, there won't be much. But, a year from now, there might be.
Let's set another meeting, this March maybe,
Sounds good.
and we'll have,
Stay away from spring break.
and we'll have new members then, and we can introduce ourselves. Try to have an in-person meeting so that we can meet each other and
We could break open champagne over our first completed congestion relief project.
Yeah, it's over.
Perfect.
We'll have another one by then.
By March, Redmond might be done by then. I think so, yeah.
Well, we can tour completed projects.
I don't know if you're gonna do that.
Oh, all right. Well, Marge could tour us. She's gonna tour us.
I mean, that would be nice.
If there's no traffic.
Yeah. For my brain, it's getting dark out.
Yeah, inspect these projects, but wait that.
So is there any public comment? Is there anybody?
We do have a member of the public here.
You'd like to unmute yourself and join us?
Rick Brown, are you there? Don't know.
James have anything? They put a, like,
James is shaking his head and raising up his thumb in goodwill.
So we'll take that as no public comment. That is this, the end of the meeting. It's 6:45. Is the meeting 45 minutes?
Great.
Okay, well, thanks everybody for coming this time.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
And so that we can meet everybody else. Yeah.
Maybe we will have done it soon.
Remember what Napoleon said? Army marchers on its belly.
We'll work on that. We'll work on that.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you very much, James.
Thank you for joining us.
See you later.